Might as well turn this on. Right. What's the word, bro? Jeff? How you doing?
What's up, man? Tired.
Man, who you telling, man? This is my day off. I only get Mondays and Wednesday off, and it's like I can choose to go in if I want to. And today I just did not feel like going in. I think I already made too much money up there, whatever that is.
No, I get it.
Right, right. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is Mr. iSnap Studios for all those who's tuning in and will tune in later. I got my man's Jeffrance Ford. He is the owner of Somas Ramen, if I got that first name spelled correctly, right?
Yeah, Somas Ramen. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm known for murdering. I just
Oh
don't
no,
want
no,
to
no, no! Oh
distract
no,
you.
my name you messed up. Yeah, it say Ja France.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I'm
You,
talking about, bro.
you good?
That's what I'm talking
You
about.
good? You good? You good? You good? You good, man? Come on, let's
All
go.
right, all right. So yeah, man, like yeah, I saw you earlier this year and you was making some ramen kits and I'm like, this cat really knows his thing. And this looks like something straight from Naruto. So now I get to go ahead and try a little something. So yeah, I just have to go ahead and like get you interviewed and all that because I'm like, this is the first time I actually seen somebody actually do it, especially in the area. That's just something that's not known. So why don't you tell us the history of what got you started to pursue that? What made you want to push that as a business?
So I've always been the type to where I wanted to do something creative and like in the field of creativity and arts and something like that. I never really knew what it was. I didn't always want to be a cook. I wanted to be an artist at first. Um, So when I got to the point to where I was already out of college and I was kind of at my limit for of like looking for jobs. I was down out, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have no money in my pocket, that type of thing. And I was like, well, I want to do something and I don't really know what to do. And I was like, all right, well, I'm a cook. And I was like, well, what to cook? And I was like, well, what do you want to cook? And I thought about my interests and then I came across anime and food. And so I was like, you know what kid, you know, did not watch anime on Toonami and then didn't see like a bowl of ramen and wanted to eat it. And I was like, all right, well, that's what I'm gonna do. And I taught myself how to make ramen from scratch, and I just took off.
Okay, okay. Now how's the process of actually making ramen? How does that go? Because I'm pretty sure it's like a step by step process in order to really make ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it actually is a process to making ramen. And like the more luxurious your broth is, the more clean it is, the more like complexity of the flavors. It takes a while to build. Um, So it's like different components that's like essential to be considered a bowl of ramen. You gotta have a broth, depending on whatever type of style of broth that you're serving. It has to be within those parameters. It has to have topical oils. It has to have a tare that we make from scratch that we have to infuse different flavors into that so that when you pour it into the bowl, it doesn't fight the broth. You know what I'm saying? It's different proteins and meats that release different collagen levels. So you have to watch if you want to a very light broth or a heavier, broth, that type of thing. Then it's the noodles. The noodles that's where it comes to a process. You gotta make the dough, rest the dough, stretch the dough, but you have to do it all within the time limit of it not so that it doesn't dry up and get crell and brittle. You know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't sit too long and get lumpy. It's a lot of work. But once you do the process enough, it just becomes muscle memory, and then you start to add on to that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and knowing that it's pretty much all made purely from organic straight from scratch, I understand that that pretty much will be the best thing for you, and you really do have to make sure that it is made and then consumed immediately afterwards because that's when you actually get the best flavor. That's when you actually get the best taste of it. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, yes, you are.
Okay. All right. So yeah, man. Obviously, yeah, everybody with the quarantine going on and all that, has affected a lot of businesses, has slowed a lot of things down. So, would you you mind sharing like what caused you to continue to persevere, continue to like push past the service for the community at hand?
Really, that's come as a surprise to me, and I'm not, and I won't lie to you, because before this all kicked off and before this all started, of course, I was doing deliveries, and it was a nice steady flow of traffic. It was a nice, consistent amount of people that ordered. But when this all took off, I was afraid that this would hurt business, and to be honest, it would. I mean, it did. So I did throw a pop up. I threw a pop up at the local grocery like I always do, and a lot of people did not want to come out and come get food. Like a lot of people was not willing to go out, drive to the spot, and then like come get hot bowls of ramen. I actually found out that I had to take advantage of this stay in the house quarantine type thing. So what I did was I was like, okay, well it's dangerous outside. Don't go outside. We'll come to you type thing. And I have a healthy amount of people who still want ramen. It's been a very huge surprise to me, but I'm very happy that people like my product enough to where they'll even still get it whilst under a quarantine. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, because when all this going on, and honestly, people are still going to want to consume some food. Like that's just
Yeah.
food is just a basic human necessity, so we can't really live without it. And to be able to just still go out there, risk your buy the food service for all those that still want to support your business and try out your soups and still be loyal consumers. That's very, very commendable. And that's just a big shout out to you because I understand that that's definitely going to up being very, very challenging while you're going out there about your business, isn't it?
Oh, and can I also add one more thing to the quarantine thing?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, cool. It's also a struggle sometimes to
You can
get
go
like
ahead.
produce. It's really hard to get produce sometimes. It's been a couple times where I'll have my girlfriend help me do these deliveries. And it's been times where we needed to go get something and we couldn't find it. Maybe be a chicken breast or a case of eggs, so I can have the luxurious soft boiled egg that everybody really likes. Or I find it hard to find different spices like cinnamon sticks, flour especially. A lot of people, I didn't know so many people use flour, but like, it was no flour for like days. It makes it hard to carry out uh, simple executions of a ramen delivery sometimes. So that's another thing that makes it difficult for me, and I know a lot of other entrepreneurs as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was all.
Yeah, and actually, that's something that is very, very true, especially for those in the food industry, because a lot of people they still out here panic buying. So as soon as like stores actually have some in stock, it's actually not as bad as it was, but it's still like very, very limited stock to where they only able to put so much out, and then once those items are gone, and it's just gone, they just have to wait for another shipment. And so, yeah, it is completely a challenge for anybody, especially in the food, especially to be able to get the ingredients that they need in order to produce to
Yeah,
produce these foods.
to make
So,
the
yeah,
dishes that we
that's
have on our menu, it makes it very hard.
hmm yeah. So with this going on, I'm pretty sure that this actually also probably challenged you to create a few other ingredients that a few new food items on your roster that you probably didn't have in there initially, but now you added on the menu just because it's like something that you can easily make. Is that something that came across lately?
Yeah. So the thing about that is, see, I've always since I've actually made the business, I've always had two other dishes that I've always been meaning to drop. So, well, I actually had three to begin with. So I had the real good broth that everybody loves. Then I also have a vegan broth that I created that people also love that I waited to drop. And I'm glad you touched that subject because I'm also about to release a tonkatsu style ramen broth. Uh, that alongside with later on this year, we're also going to be dropping our homemade gyoza, and those are Japanese dumplings. Then I'm going to be serving those with a soy chili ginger infused dipping sauce. and those will be made from scratch with the filling, the dough, and all that things, and we'll be releasing those as well this year. And this quarantine did make me boost those dates up because I did have them at later dates, but I'm just gonna just go on ahead and let the city see what we're working with here in just a second.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Actually, I think as soon as you like get all that together, I think I might have to go ahead and like cop that one. And yes, I will make sure that I will not work on that day. I will make sure that I do not have nothing going on. I will make sure I
Yeah,
order
because
it and cook
last
it right
time,
on
you got it.
time.
It was like, yeah, it was like a last minute. He's like, okay, I'm gonna eat this later on tonight. I was like, oh no. Yeah, all
Right,
right, I
right.
got you.
I was determined, man. I was determined. That's all I know because I really wanted to
Yeah.
try something. I wanted to. That's it, like even if I
How
mess up,
was
like
it?
I want to try because I support this. This is like something that's totally new, something that's totally original. So it's like I had to support. I had to support.
How was it when you tried it?
It was actually pretty good. Let's just
Yeah.
say, yeah, and let's leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah, I can actually say it was worth it. It was worth it. It was definitely well worth it. And I'm willing to always go ahead and get some more.
All right, bet.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And now with all done, and because you are definitely like making sure that you do persevere, what do you have to say to any and all the entrepreneurs that's out here still trying to serve a community, still trying to serve their product? What do you have to say to encourage them to keep going forward?
Really, it's been a lot of things that I thought I needed to be an entrepreneur to be successful. To really, it was a lot of things that I thought I needed. And the image of what I think I need always is like ever fluctuating. And to be honest, I think this pandemic, this shutdown, is definitely weeding out the more strong-willed entrepreneurs. As far as the other ones are, concerned, the other entrepreneurs who aren't willing to get out there and still make the dollar. Um, I have to say I want to speak to those people because those are the people who need the advice. The people that stopped and slowed up production. Like you have to realize that it's always going to be something in your way. Whether it's a car problem, a boss job, money to expand and grow bigger, to even like invest in yourself. And I really do think that it's important that you spend a huge amount of time thinking on ways to make your situation better versus sitting down and thinking about what's a new problem and what's going to stop you and prohibit you from moving forward. Because if you spend that amount of time thinking about failures, you can do the same thing about positivity, and in some way or another, you will find a breakthrough. That's what I have to say.
Right, right. Hey, that's what it really comes down to as well, because that's pretty much my testimony right there. Because I have spent like a good amount of time myself trying to figure out, okay, I won't be able to really be out there to do photo shoots. I won't be able to like hit up any events because everything's getting canceled. So what can I
Yeah.
really do to keep myself motivated? What can I do to keep the business brand out there, keep them busy, keep it known? So that's where this idea of doing iSnap interviews live start coming on in. And it's not only just to promote the brand, it's also to promote everybody else that got something that's still out here trying to working to persevere, still trying to. That's what it's really all about, and to put the word out there for the whole world to see. That's the point of doing it. So yeah, no matter what challenge you face, because this is like life in general. You're always going to have some kind of challenge. Something's going to always come your way. That's pretty much what you're. As long as you're breathing on this earth, keep facing each and every single day. You're not going to live your life without having some kind of challenge pop up. But it's really those challenges that's going to show whether or not you're really going to persevere in life, in your endeavors, what it is that you really want to do. So yeah, so more shout out. So once again, shout out to you for being out here and do everything you can to still feed the people and put your business out there. More power to you, brother.
Appreciate that, man. You as well. It was a pleasure to actually. I was actually looking forward to doing this interview, and I think it's important that we continue to have things like this to not only empower each other as like fellow entrepreneurs, but also to just to keep the good energy and the goodwill out there. It's like this type of thing. I'm not opposed to it. And if it's anything that I can do for iSnap Studios, just let me know because this is cool. and I definitely appreciate what you got going on here, and I also appreciate the support as well. Thank you.
Yes, yes. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, anytime you got it, like when everything cools over, anytime you got an event going on, just shoot me up. I'll lock it down in my calendar, and I'll make sure I get on out there, give you like a very, very decent portrait shot. Make sure I get a good shot, some good food shots. Make sure the lighting is all
Okay.
good. Make sure that the food pops out. Like, man, I gotta try some of this, man. I
All
gotta try
right.
some
Yeah.
of these
Sweet. Yeah.
ramen.
For
Like,
sure.
I've never seen
Let
something
me
like
know.
this
You know,
before.
I'm always cooking, man. I'm actually waiting new equipment now. So Somas Ramen. If you go to Facebook, anyone that's watching, if you go to Facebook and you type in Somas SOMAS business page, you will see that I'm on a short hiatus because we're awaiting new equipment. But once this equipment comes in, we're back up and running. So I'll be waiting for you. You know, you can place an order via message, and then you have to make sure that we are selling. Though we'll make a post to let everyone know when we're selling ramen, including you. And yeah, we can just get to it and just start slinging bowls out again because I love it.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to that. Yeah, so that's how we can reach you through your Facebook page, Soma's business page. We can reach you. You
Yep.
got an IG too for Soma's Ramen.
His Ascension, not Soma's Ramen. His
Okay,
Ascension,
that's his
because that
Ascension.
page, yeah, they won't let me use it for some reason. Instagram is just they don't let me use it.
Oh, they're just being difficult. That's all. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So yeah, thanks a lot for your time, brother. It was good. It was good speaking with you. And honestly, it's an honor to speak with you, just because like you're the very first one that came up with something that's like totally original. It's never been seen like that before. Especially in the talks of the African American community. Like I can say it personally is I've seen anything like that before. That's totally original. So that's all the power.
Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I just feel like it was I just felt like it was a audience that wasn't being heard. Oh, you know, like this, it was a really huge chunk of the city that watched anime. You know what I'm saying, and wanted to taste ramen and wanted to go to Japan, but we just don't congregate for some reason. You know, we don't get together and have anything to bring us together, really. So what I like to do is just like, you know, hit that. That's where I'm at. That's my group of people. You know, I'm trying to get to know y'all. I'm trying to get to know the people in my city who share the same interests as me. You know, who like to watch anime, who wants to go to Japan, who likes Asian food, and who wants to learn the culture and learn the language, that type of thing. And food is the one language that everybody can understand. So I was like, hey, you know, let's do it. And it took off, and it's taken off, and it's the place to go for sure.
Okay. Well, from one anime fan to another, Demon Slayer is coming out in October. The movie, the Infinity Train arc. So be
I'm
looking forward to that
excited.
one.
I am.
Yeah, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for that one since it came out.
That's a good one, actually. I'm
Yeah.
actually
So
very excited
yeah,
for
like
that.
be looking forward to that one. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So once again, thank you for your time. Thank everybody that's able to tune in and people who will watch this a little bit later. This will be on being on my YouTube once I get everything situated and do like a recap of all the good parts in there. So be looking forward to that.
Okay. I appreciate it, man.
All right. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So once again, this is Mr. iSnap Studio. Got your man's Jeff Ford, because I'm not gonna mess up your name again. I'm just gonna say Jeff Ford.
All right.
Somas Ramen. All right, y'all take
It's
care,
cool.
everybody. Peace out.